Hey, it's me, Terry. Welcome to The Mess and the Bliss. Thanks so much for showing up. Remember to like, share, and subscribe to my channel. Tell your friends. They might want to like, share, and subscribe as well. So today, coffee mugs and word hugs. This is the mug, and inside it says, "A cup of amazing." Because who doesn't need a cup of amazing? I think everyone does. Just saying. All right, so I am reading, if you've been following along, I am reading from my book, The Mess and the Bliss, What About Me? And this little ditty is called I Prefer. So here we go. I prefer steamy coffee to blended caffeine. I prefer messy souls to hardened hearts. I prefer authenticity to those who hold it together. I prefer real shine to boisterous glitz. I prefer puppy breath to rough kitty tongues. I prefer beautiful diversity to cookie cutter sameness. I prefer warm sand to cold snow. I prefer pouring out my heart and being vulnerable to keeping it to myself. I prefer telling my story and risking to playing the game. I prefer my mom's homemade hot chocolate to hot chocolate in a can. I prefer believing people are doing their best with the tools they have to assuming they are not. I prefer leaning in to holding back. I prefer vibrant blending colors to dull monochromatic. I prefer looking into someone's eyes to looking away. I prefer late evenings to early mornings. I prefer free-flowing to constricted spaces. I prefer caramel to chocolate, but like them combined. I prefer chips and salsa to sweet treats. I prefer my voluptuous body to not eating coconut ice cream. I prefer breezy dresses to confining pants. I prefer deep diving to shallow swimming. I prefer writing to reading. I prefer kisses on my neck to biting my lip sometimes. I prefer soul to country music. I prefer complimenting to being complimented. I prefer holding space for those in pain and sharing stories to talking about reality TV. I prefer a love who sees my soul to someone who compliments my ass. I prefer heartbreak to never giving myself to love. I prefer watching someone light up about their passion to hearing their political affiliation. I prefer a home full of lively conversation and food to empty rooms. I prefer essential oils to antibiotics. I prefer a circle of women building each other up to gossip about their neighbors. I prefer being reached for to always reaching. I prefer riding my bike to running. I prefer cool sheets and freeing my feet from the covers to being tucked in. I prefer the energy when souls unite for peace to talk of fighting each other. I prefer listening to my writing friends read their work to reading mine. I prefer honesty that stings to lies that sugarcoat. I prefer hugging and kissing my grandbabies to almost anything. I prefer rocking the boat to standing safely on the shore. I prefer evolving to being stagnant. Written 11/7/16. Thanks so much for showing up. Have a messy, blissful day.